I have 1,000 things to say about Summer Lindsay's Seraphin. 1,000,000. I'll be saying them and thinking them and writing them down every day for the rest of my life, no matter how brief or prolonged that may be. But today, just for today, she liked to sleep. That's not what I want to talk about, but it has to be said. She loved sleeping. I'm listening to one of her voicemails of late, and she says she's so excited by the prospect of sleep that it's like her mouth is watering for sleep. She says that. It is good. I sometimes sleep now and just want to stay. I hope I might find her there. It's impossible, really. Impossible that I met her, that she found me. She liked to say, I'm not from around here. It's impossible that she lived in a place called the Inner Sunset. Impossible that she lit me up, this shining person, and held me safely in her orbit. Impossible. All of it. And today. She was a terrible driver. Even Mike said so. I loved her battle-scarred blue Prius. The passenger side mirror in a kaleidoscope, 1,000 pieces dangling by a cable, the tail light busted, the bumper sagging. No, she fixed that. The back seat full of boots and sun hats and coconut water and tissues. She left a trail of tissues everywhere she went, like Hansel and Gretel. You could follow it to its source and eventually find her. She was, words not for the first time fail, an ethereal beauty, an unearthly beauty, and shockingly entirely earthbound. Preternaturally present, she ate up life, ate it up, with both tiny perfect fists. Actually, she ate quite beautifully. Do you remember that? Cutting and balancing petite bites, transferring them knife to fork with quiet elegance. Even bananas she ate like that. Seriously, I have a picture. I tried to get her to try dark chocolate. She wasn't a fan at first. She broke little bits off into tiny pieces. I looked over and she was sprinkling equal onto them one at a time. She was the dearest, dearest girl. Nothing phony about her. If you got to know her at all, your heart just broke in two. The moment you realized. The moment you really saw her. And then searched with love for her. This amazing girl. She didn't do anything to make it difficult, but I can understand how some could think she was hard to get to know. She was friendly but never facile. She wasn't frivolous. She was serious. She was fun. God, was she fun. She loved people. And this is what I want to get at long last. She loved people and she took them seriously. Not everybody's up for that. More fool they. I'm circling the runway here, I know, but there's one more thing I gotta say before I bring it in. She was a breathtakingly gifted actor. I met her doing Edna O'Brien's Tir na Nog, Chris Smith's last play at the Magic. She played the central role, a country girl in the west of Ireland who grows to young adulthood in further adventures in Dublin, and she burned that stage to cinders every goddamn night. With 3 broken toes. If you live here and you go to the theater and you didn't see her in that, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. A year later, right after she was in rock and roll at ACT, she went down to Carmel to do David Hare's The Blue Room, directed by Ken Kelleher. I sat there between Linda and Coy and I just thought, God, what am I doing? I have a perfectly healthy ego. I'm from New York. But I have never seen acting like that. She was like the supermoon. Once in a generation. She loved her work. And she was good at it. But she had a higher calling. To love. And yes, that is what I want to talk about, because she told me she knew why she was here, and that was to love. She was filled with love. So much love. And she wanted more than anything to share her love with others. She told me that. And there is absolutely no doubting, because you could not have had a better luck. You could not have had a better piece of luck in this world than to have been loved by her. She was like that device they use in open heart surgery that cracks your chest open and holds it gaping wide so you can be healed. That fragile little muscle, scared and scarred and on the verge of giving up, giving out, held now tenderly in her expert hands beneath her loving, healing gaze. Her love was tenacious, vigilant, unflinching. I met her 3 years ago, and she quickly became the center of my life. She didn't drop people. If you were in, she was in. Even if you faltered, because nobody had ever shown up for you like this before, she was on you, checking in, reminding, different this time, not going anywhere. She hated talking on the phone, but we talked every day, often for hours, for 3. She knew everything about me. Things I never tell became hers. She made sure I knew her too. Her gratitude, her pride in a happy childhood, loving, devoted, would take a bolt of lightning for parents. Her epic struggle from the age of 5 to live. Ryan's gifting her a kidney and a double organ transplant that saved and changed her life. The unfathomable loss of Jesse. She carried every piece of her past with pride and love and honesty into every room, knowing exactly who she was. Like no one I have ever known, or ever will. God, how I loved her. She's right, she did find me. I clung to her, like a life raft, I told her she was, to a drowning man. She smiled and said, "You're not drowning anymore." When my mom died last year, I was in London. I got the news in the middle of the night. I was alone. I called Summer, 8 hours behind here. When I told her, she burst into tears and then told me to get on Skype. "I want to see you drink an entire glass of water," she said, "and lie down and try to sleep. I'll be right here at my computer watching you. I'll watch you while you sleep." She watched over me like an angel, a cyber angel. And when I woke, she was there with Linda, getting me on a plane to New York and then on to Michigan. Then Summer flew herself to Detroit and waited in the airport all night to meet my plane, and was at my side every day for a week while I buried my mother. Who does that? Serafin-Love. Irrepressible, irreplaceable girl. "When I met you," she said, "you were so wounded, so hurting, so sad. I just wanted to love you, to heal, but I never dreamed," she added, "I would ever get so much love in return." Who does that? I need her. I am broken. That is as it should be. It's supposed to be hard. She cracked my chest open. It'll have to stay that way, because who would go back? But it's hard. Summer, incredibly, had an answer for that, I think. All this is preface. She'd want to have the last word. So I'd like to share that. It's her Christmas card from a couple of years ago. She was in Boston doing rock and roll at the Huntington. It closed just before the holidays, and she came to New York to exchange gifts with me. She made me promise to wait until December 25th to open it. So I took it on the plane with me, waited till Christmas morning, and opened it at my mom's. The gift was a beautiful blue and gray scarf that she knitted. There's also a card. It's to me, but in a way it's to us all. Every one of us who she loved, every one of us who love her, and feel so lost. Because life is so lonely, the world so empty and wrong without her. My dearest Michael, I've been working on this in the green room and backstage since we came to Boston. I drape it around my neck to keep warm while knitting in the dark of the freezing wings. The cast is decisively in favor of the striped color combination. It's Christmas Day, and I'm wearing my pajamas. I'm in my PJs even if you're reading this when the sun is set. Ryan is making another bourbon and Coke even if you're reading this as the sun rises. My dad is reading aloud shocking statistics about religion or politics. My mom is spraying perfume on the dog. And me? I am missing you. Maybe one day we'll spend Christmas together. Coy says you are where you're meant to be. And while I like that idea, I know far too well what it feels like to be in a world where everything feels wrong. Where everything is wrong. You have also been to that place. And as the world spins on its own axis, people are lost in their own needs and trials. We falter blindly and strive endlessly. But no matter where you are, whether you should be there or not, and no matter who is present, know that you are a treasure in your own right. If the chest is buried, the key is lost, or the map stolen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that it's inside you. I just see what's there. What's hidden can always be found. I love you. Your ginger snap, Summer. I love you too. Love you forever. Good night, little sweetheart.